Lisa. I'm the Barefoot Pampered Chef, and I'm going to show you a meal that you can either make in the oven, or if you're in a rush, you can make it in the microwave, and hopefully it'll satisfy your whole family. We're going to be using the deep covered baker. So this recipe does come from the deep covered baker recipe book here. I will show you dinner in your deep covered baker. This is a really neat book. It shows a lot of recipes that can be done either in the microwave or in the oven, because the deep covered baker can go in the microwave or in the oven. So this meal, the family burrito bake, what I've already done and why I have a hot grip on this is I put in 1 pound of ground beef. Now when you're buying your meats, try to buy local. That's your best bet. You know where they've been raised, you know what's gone in them. So I have 1 pound of locally raised ground beef. I have in there 2 cloves of minced garlic or pressed garlic. I have 1 medium onion that I chopped up in my manual food processor that I'll show you how to do here in a second, because we're going to make our own salsa. And I popped that in the microwave for about 8 minutes. What I did was I stirred it about halfway through, and what you end up having, this is a little warm so I'll show you, is brown meat that you didn't have to get out of saute pan for. So we've got nice brown meat here. Now notice there is a bit of juice in there. So what we're gonna do is actually I'll put these back on. We're gonna strain that out. So you can use any kind of a colander you want. I'm using my mesh colander here. And I am just gonna dump all this right into there. It's okay if a little bit of it stays in. You can kind of scrape that out. We're going to use the same pan anyway. We're just getting this ready for prep. So I'm going to pick up what's left in here and put it in there. Just make sure that's kind of nice and drained, just because you don't want all of that nastiness, that, you know, well, I guess it's not nasty, just all that fat. So I'm going to add this meat mixture to a cup of corn and a cup of black beans. The black beans aren't in this particular recipe, but I did have them left over, so I'm going to use them. And then I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of the Southwestern seasoning mix. So I'm going to add this in. It does say to add it before you cook the ground beef. Since I'm draining it out, I didn't want to drain out all that flavor, so I'm adding it afterwards. And then I'm going to add all of my meat mixture to that bowl. And since I want to make this meat nice and crumbly and this mixture all mixed up, I'm going to use my mix and chop, just kind of lightly here. And that's going to mix this whole nice meat, corn, bean mixture together. Okay. So once that's nice and mixed, we're going to move on to our salsa. Now this recipe actually just calls for a jarred salsa, but I wanted to show you how easy it is to make your own fresh salsa at home. You'll probably never buy real salsa if you make this, you know, it's just really quick and easy. So what I have in my manual food processor is about a half of a red onion. I'm going to throw in about a cup. This is what I have left over, so that's what I'm going to use, of cherry tomatoes. Whoa, you ran away. And then I'm going to throw in just some roughly ripped cilantro. Now there is a gene in humans, I believe it's a gene, where it causes some people to equate the taste of cilantro with soap. So make sure that the people you're cooking for aren't those people. So I'm just going to throw this in the manual processor and chop that up. It's a good way to get your frustrations out. Just going to hold on the lid here, give it a little bit of a shake. get all those ingredients nice and blended together. My cilantro is just being a little challenging, but that's okay, because I'm going to open that up anyway and add a splash of lemon juice. Now I don't want to add all my lemon juice because I am going to use a little bit for some guacamole that we're going to make in a few minutes. Besides the fact that my cilantro is still being a challenge, which I think is the cilantro itself and not the manual processor, it's smelling really good. Much better. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take out the center of that processor. And as you see here, we've got nice homemade salsa. I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper to that. And we're good to go. So next thing we're going to do is we are going to layer this burrito bake. So on the bottom of my deep covered baker, you don't have to clean it out, we're going to layer some tortillas. I'm actually going to use 2 just for each layer. So I'm going to cover the bottom. It's not that hot anymore, so I can lift it up for you. And then in this bowl here, which is my 3-cup silicone prep bowl, I have a can of refried beans, and I have about 3 tablespoons of water. So what that's going to do is it's going to make it a little bit more on the runny side, so it's easier for me to spread. So I'm going to take about 1/3 of that mixture, and I'm going to lay it down, and I am going to spread that all over those tortillas. This is something that the kids would probably enjoy doing. It's kind of a, nice little layered dish for them to make. All right, so I've got that layer done. Now I'm going to use my same mix and scraper, so there's that layer. I'm going to add a layer of the meat mixture and the corn and my black beans. About 1/3 of that. I'm going to add a little bit of the salsa. Now this salsa, I'm actually going to go grab another spoon because we're going to save some of that salsa to top it. So a little bit of the salsa. And then I've got 2 cups of grated sharp cheddar. You can use any style of cheese that you want. We're just going to sprinkle some on that layer, and we're going to start again. Once you have all of the layers together, which is about 3 layers, what you're going to do is pop that in the microwave. Or you can pop it in the oven. If you use the microwave, you're going to put it in for about 12 to 15 minutes until it's ooey gooey and bubbly. If you put it in the oven, I believe, let me check here, making another layer, you are going to cook it at 350 degrees for about 50 to 55 minutes. So it's a little bit longer in the oven, of course. It may get a little bit darker and more bubbly, but it's still a very good dish to do in the microwave. If you only have a few minutes, you can prep it ahead of time, put it in your refrigerator, have it ready to go when everybody gets home, and you can make a quick meal that way. So let me finish up these layers. So again, we did the beans, we did the meat, we're doing a little bit of the salsa, and then we're going to do the cheese. And the cheese I just grated. It's a little bit cheaper if you buy ungrated cheese. I grated it with my microplane adjustable coarse grater. So I'm going to put my last layer of tortillas on here. Smush it down a little bit. My last layer of beans. Get them all out of there. Waste not, want not. Smooth that on. My last layer of beef and beans and corn. I think I went a little light on the other layers, but that's okay. It'll all taste good. Layer that on. And then we're gonna put a little bit more of our salsa. Now remember, we're leaving some of this salsa to top it with. But what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna take that leftover salsa and I'm gonna make it into a guacamole to top it with. So I'm gonna leave that salsa in there. And I'm actually gonna put my middle back in because we're gonna make some guacamole in a second. And I'm gonna top this with the rest of that grated cheese. Now all I need to do is pop that in the microwave for 10 to 15 minutes and I'll have a great meal. So before I do that, I'm gonna show you how to make some quick guacamole here. So I've got 1.5 avocados. What you do is you just cut down, oops, that's not the right one. Cut down the center of the avocado, twist it, and the pit will come out on one side, and that's on the other side. What I do is I take my knife, give it a good whack, and spin, and it'll come out. Just be careful when you're doing that. It is fairly easy to cut yourself with these sharp knives. So twist, and it should come out. Now, the easiest way I found to cut an avocado is just in the shell, take your knife and score it crosswise, and then the other way so it makes little cubes. And if you push, all of those little cubes should fall out into your manual processor or whatever you're using it for. There is also a Pampered Chef avocado slicer, which is really nice and useful. Today I'm just using my knife. So score those, pop all those in. They don't have to be completely cubed or anything because we're going to mash them all up for this recipe. You can also use a spoon to help you scoop these out if they don't want to pop out of the shell. Just scoop around the outer edge of the avocado. So there's all of that. Now I have some leftover red bell pepper from another dish that I made. I'm going to add that to my guacamole. You don't have to. You can add in kind of whatever you want. But I've got just a little bit of that left over that I made on my veggie strip maker. So I'm going to put that in. And then the other thing that I'm going to add is a splash of lemon juice. I'm going to add in a little bit of salt, pepper, a little bit of crushed red pepper flakes, and some garlic salt. And then I'm going to add in some pressed garlic, about 1 clove. Wash my hands here a second. Pop this lid on. Make sure it fits in there. There we go. And give this a nice zhuzh. Now remember, we still had some of the salsa left in there. So that is an ingredient, is a little bit of that salsa to give it a little bit of a kick. Oy! I hit some. There we go. Now avocados should blend up fairly well if they're nice and ripe. Oh, look at that lovely guacamole. And that's what we're going to top our family burrito bake with. So I hope you enjoyed everything today. This is a great dish, like I said, to use either if you have a good amount of time for dinner or a very, very short period of time. The deep covered baker is an excellent vessel for the microwave or the oven. And you can find everything that I've mentioned here on www.pamperedchef.biz/Lisa Wright, LISAWRIGHT. You can also find me on YouTube. Just search the Barefoot Pampered Chef, or on Twitter and Instagram. I'm #BarefootPC. Thanks and have a great day.